Hey, context sickness here. Here's the thing. You heard this. I think it's been kind of beating a dead horse, but, rock is dead. Guitar is dying. Bah, said every boomer ever. And I was having this discussion like last year with a friend of mine, and I was like, well, I guess you can now I use a DAW. Everybody uses a DAW unless you're fucking crazy, or you have the money to record on reel to reel, and the time. I can hardly wrap my head around using those frickin' Akai 8 tracks or whatever. I just find that shit janky. I'd rather use a DAW and be able to record, delete, chop up, whatever. But here's the thing. I think, the reason guitar is dying is because y'all motherfuckers trying to kill it, okay? It's the 21st century. We got DAWs. We got infinite editing capabilities. We can instantly record and replace. We can do all these amazing things. Cabinet impulse responses are so freaking good, man. So are these apps. Fuck me. I don't think, nowadays, if you get a good DSP, I think you're just, why the hell would you use an amp live? The only reason I have had a live setup with real amps is just because I like the volume. And, I like the fact that, I had a car at the time and all that stuff. So here's the thing, though. I would much rather just carry a fucking XFX, plug it into the front of house, and let the PA do everything. That's why I bought this Korg GX1000, some multi-effects unit, and that's all I use. I use a couple pedals with that, and I just plug right into the front of house. I don't care. Look, if you like tube amps, fine. I'm just saying that shit's so anachronistic, man. I don't even care if impulse responses are just as good as the real thing. What about this? You have infinite digital tone shaping capabilities, right? Why don't you make some crap that analog circuits physically cannot produce? Can you make your tube amp distortion sound like I don't know, a fuzz factory, or MXR Blue Box, or the particular distortion of all these weird circuits? I don't think you can. When you constrain yourself to a amp head, you kind of constrain the possible good sounds that you can get out of it, and all that jazz. So I'm just kind of thinking, why aren't we as musicians more forward thinking about the technology that exists on the market today? It seems like we haven't even caught up to the 1950s, let alone modern recording, editing techniques. Right now, I might release this it's not a finished song, but I do have this nearly finished song where I essentially dabbled with chopping up the guitar and kind of creating this weird effect where it sounds glitchy and dispersed. Polyphia, Sean, all these math rock bands are really pushing the envelope, and I feel like their sound, the way they play guitar, sounds digital. I'm not saying, it sounds fake. I mean, Tim Henson was talking about boomer bends, and I just think a lot of the play style, as well as the editing and all these things, there's so much that's underutilized, and I just don't understand why people don't move forward with what they do, both stylistically, technically, and, there's so... you can use MIDI to create just about anything, right? Some of these plugins sound so good. And I'm just here thinking, like, why don't we conceptualize music more as if the guitar is just something to get sounds out of? It's not this, it's like any other instrument. Do you honestly think that a synth player is going to complain about, I don't know, their sound not being analog? Do you think? You know what I mean? The whole allure of synths is that they sound like machines. Why can't we make guitar sound like more than what it is right now? That's what I'm saying. You can make a synthesizer sound like a violin, but you can also make it sound like it's a dying computer with listen to that, like Waters of Nazareth by Justice, man. That synth sounds so gritty. I love it. Or, like IDM, 90s IDM, man. Like, why are we still stuck in this idea that we have to do everything in one take? I mean, everything in one take, and you can't edit the actual track because that's cheating, as opposed to just saying it's a textural device, and I want these, really off-kilter, not human-sounding textures using a guitar, but with the particular cadence and timbre of a guitar. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, this started in the 80s. Like, Run DMC sampling, rock songs and stuff, and their music, and just all this stuff, right? You can alter music to the point where it's just like, there's so much production that has developed, like the production skills that have developed in circles outside of the guitar community, that the guitar community just chooses to ignore. No wonder people feel like rock is fucking dying. You're killing it. You're killing it by creating this vegetative comatose state for guitar music. Of course it's not gonna, hold the same relevance that it once did. Shit, the whole concept of distortion was wrong when it first came out. That's what I'm saying. Processing things and whatever is not a bad thing. Here's the thing. If you're punching in your mistakes because you flubbed up a note, whatever, okay? I'm so result-oriented to the point where I kind of don't even care. But here's the thing. You can also chop up your freaking track and, like, make it sound like it's a glitched up mess, and it'll sound really cool, depending on the chords you choose and the way you chop it up and, rearrange things. I'll show you an example later if you guys are interested at all, but yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's so much production, that's developed over the years, and yet, like, people choose to ignore it, and I don't understand it. Shit, people are still, like, arguing about whether impulse responses have a place in guitar. No one, it's like, and some other people can't even wrap their heads around transistors. Technology that's now going, 70 years old? And you're telling me we haven't optimized the use of these transistors enough to the point where you can't get a good sound out of them? Are you fucking kidding me? That's what I'm trying to say. Open your fucking mind. Do something new. Do something interesting. The guitar is cool because it's really hard to make synthesizers sound like guitar. It's such a dynamic instrument, but why don't you combine that dynamism with the modern day editing prowess that we all have? I just don't understand why you can't. It seems like people think all editing diminishes the quality of something, when in fact you can take it to feats that, haven't been seen before. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, oh, my bunny is chewing on some wood. Anyway, that's about it.